and this is Mike Garner from MrMikeGarner.com coming to you, going live in the Mr Mike Garner Facebook channel, and I'm possibly about 2 minutes over start time. Hi Fion. I'm possibly about 2 minutes over start time because I have Wi-Fi challenges here. So I'm just going to allow everybody to come in and to see what's going on, and then I'm going to start. We're here for about an hour, but I will tell you that I'm going to take questions. This is the second in a series of presentations that I'm making whilst I'm here in Thailand, based on a concept that I call MikeGnosis. My name is Mike Garner, Mr Mike Garner. I've taken the G from Garner, which is the first letter of Gnosis. I'm calling it MikeGnosis, and this is MikeGnosis too. Hi Louise. As we go through today, as I say, there's going to be a number of sections. Any one of the sections I think you'll find very... Hi Rose. I think you'll find very, very interesting. And if you want to put questions... Hi Verity. Hi V, great to see you. Although I can't see you, but you can see me. But as we get into these series of live presentations, I'm going to be inviting people on screen. But I want to get through some stuff, and I just want to welcome you all in. As I say, this is part 2 of MikeGnosis 2. MikeGnosis 1 was an introduction, and each one stands alone. A little bit like Power Hour when I started it. I invented the concept of Power Hour about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Each one stood alone, but there was a continuation of knowledge and sharing, exactly the same as I had in mind focus groups, exactly the same as I've done in Reiki On, which is core knowledge, and then those people that want to go to higher levels of knowledge can do, and those people who want to just stick with the basics, well, that's absolutely fine. There's no judgment there. So I want to start by saying that at no time in your life are you under control or in control, because your life, we believe, starts when you're born and ends when you die. That's what we're told, isn't it? That you are so many years old now, and those are Earth years. What's interesting, as I'm in Thailand just now, the year is different to the year in the UK and most of Europe. They have a different calendar. I think it's something like about 2,500 something here, because after the calendar was started, the concept of a calendar and counting years was started, I think the Catholic Church, which has now become the Church of England, and the Christian Church, it's all started as Catholicism. They decided 500 years after, I think it was Henry VIII, but I might be corrected on this false history, I think I'm right, he decided that he'd break away and start a new Gregorian calendar. So years are different. Whatever year you were born in, it's different on different calendars, but in reality, in eternity, you are just your age in this life, in this incarnation. And you think that's who you are. You think that you are this person in this incarnation, and you're trying to get control. To some degree, a lot of the techniques that I teach and preach and work with will give you more control, but ultimately you will never be in control as an individual, because you're not an individual. You are, and I'm looking at this camera now, I'm working 2 cameras. There's a camera recording here for another forum, and this camera's here for the live. But you are not an individual, you're part of a collective. You're part of a collective consciousness, and we're part of the human race. We are being human, we're being humans, we're human beings. And as human beings, we're all connected, although we think we're individuals. And as individuals, we'll never have ultimate control. Only as a collective will we have control. Hi Ellie, And the thing is, how does it feel to not have control? It feels, in my opinion, put your answers in the comments box. You can interact with me, please do. But it feels chaotic, doesn't it? It feels like there's no order, therefore you have disorder. It's not easy, so you have dis-ease. That's the etymology, that's the language, and the clues are there. That you have disorder, chaos, out of no order, no balance, no control. And you have dis-ease, which you've probably heard me say before if you've watched me or listened to me on any platform. And all the techniques that I've taught for 40 years, since I started off doing mentoring and martial arts teaching, has been to gain control, to stand up for yourself. It's been self-empowerment, self-mastery, which is a very vogue in word at the moment. And you can get control of yourself through visualization, affirmation, manifestation, and lots of other self-programming techniques which I teach, preach and practice. But ultimately, in my opinion, what you've got to do is you've got to understand that we're only in control ultimately as a collective. Now stick with me on this, because you're going to be asking questions. If you want to ask questions, then put them in the comments box. If you're watching me on this forum that I'm pointing to now, which is going to go on YouTube, you won't be able to ask me live, but you can come on the next live, or you can ask me in the comments box and I will get back to you. We've got to have a way of understanding that we are more than just little me individuals, because little me individuals have no power. And yet, you are a supreme being. To get ultimate control, you've got to realise that you are the ultimate, you are the penultimate. Pen in Welsh, my Welsh friends watching this will be proud of me, means head. Pen mein mawr. Pen mon head. It's head. We've got to get ahead. We've got to live from higher self. And higher self is glorious, miraculous, capable of doing a lot more powerful things and magical things than little me can. And little me is Michael Garner that I was born to be, Michael Frank Garner actually, or Mr Garner, Mr Mike Garner. Any of my brands, that's not who I am. Those are just labels that I give my different egos. But ultimately, I am God. I'm the grand organising designer, God, for me, in a multiverse. And I've got to understand that from higher self, from my head, from my pen, my penultimate self. And so can you. If you identify to your little self with your little problems, that you make big problems, and so do I. I've had problems today. Hiya Ben, thanks for joining me. I've had problems today. I've had problems tonight getting online. I made a commitment for a week to run this going live and I had no Wi-Fi 5 minutes ago. Now certain aspects of me, little me, lower self me, runs round like a headless chicken. Hiya Helen. Helen Garner there. Not a relation, but I'd be honoured to be a relation. Same name. Little me would run around like a headless chicken. Little me would get annoyed. Little me would get angry. And trust me, I can do little me, but really well. Not as well as I used to do 20 years ago. You wouldn't have liked to have known little me 20 years ago, who was quite angry, fighting for all sorts of causes worldwide and all sorts of personal causes. Having gone through a divorce, having had illnesses, having lost my mum, all my stories. You've got your own stories. Hi Mike. Hi Ben. And there's stories today and there's stories yesterday in your life and mine, and it's very easy to get lost in these stories and let your ego take over. Here's another etymology, ego, E-G-O, edge God out. Nothing to do with religion, it's edge your head out. Your head, your mind is God, the grand organising designer. Live from there and you are magnificent, and that gives you ultimate control. And it will give you ultimate control of you using techniques that I teach and preach and you can find for yourself. Control techniques, mindfulness, self-hypnosis, affirmation, visualize, all this stuff that you know. And you can Google and you can YouTube and check out from many mentors, teachers, coaches, gurus, whatever you want to call them. But only in my opinion, when you understand that as a collective, that's when you have ultimate control of everything. Because you are everything, you're part of everything. You can't, there's no separation between you and everything. It's the collective. And the way that it works is that you've got to rise above these situations and see the bigger picture. But when you're stuck head down like a chicken, scratching for bits and trying to solve the problem, and quite often running around like a headless chicken, seeing nothing other than the problem, you won't find peace in that, and you won't find self-mastery in that, and you won't find the solution in that. That just amplifies the problem. The solution is always going to be in creating a gap between the situation and your ability to solve the situation, and you just need to step back and breathe in that moment and step out of yourself. It's rather like at the moment I'm talking to two cameras, one here and one there, and although I'm talking and this is all happening automatically because I've done it many times and I'm not frightened of talking, there's an observer behind me saying, this is going well, or you're talking rubbish, Mike, which I am capable of doing. It's not, you're not connected, it's not blessed, it's not, this isn't what you came on to say, people aren't getting it. There's all sorts of observations taking place behind me whilst I'm talking automatically. My body, Michael Garner, Mr Mike Garner, whatever you want to call me, that guy, is doing this, but I know that inside me that there's not just my higher self watching, but in my opinion, there is a group of people watching me in the collective consciousness that I call my soul group. You don't have to believe that. My guides, my gatekeepers, my guardian angels, whatever words you want to use, they are people who haven't been here yet and have been here before in this oneness, who are making sure that I'm the best that I can be in any moment. And quite often we deny access to that. We don't even know it's there, or we forget it's there. Trust me, we see it in dreams. We connect to these people in dreams. We connect to these people when we've been knocked out unconscious under anaesthetics. Certain drugs give us access in waking state and dreaming state and trance state, and certain meditative processes allow us to access this oneness of non-physical form. All these advisors, all these helpers that are there for us, that we can't see but we can feel. We get a sense of, an extra sense, an ESP. All these things are going on in the background that we quite often deny when we're stuck in little me and we're just getting on with our jobs 9 to 5 or whatever it is that you do during the day, and you miss the magic, the wisdom, the guidance, the support, the oneness, the power, the ultimate control that that team of you and them and you and everybody else and all their people that are behind them that they're aware of or not are there to assist, to move consciousness up another vibration, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to flower as human beings. We've flowered in the past, and then that was all destroyed, and here we are again. And it looks at the moment, and you might have comment on this, that we're destroying it all again. But don't worry, we'll come back in another form. Energy always transforms. Mike, good question, Rose. I think everybody in this live can see the questions, but for people watching that aren't in the live, that are watching afterwards or watching on other forums, Rose has said, Mike, are our guides all connected too? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Everybody that you've met, your guides worked on an invisible realm to get those meetings to take place. They opened doors and closed doors that you didn't even know was being controlled for you. And Ben's saying the angelic, I guess we can almost scare the angels away. I believe they're always available to assist, and I believe that too, Ben, yeah. I honestly believe that I don't think there's much that we can do to scare angels. I think they probably laugh at our self-created fears, F-E-A-R, fantasized expectations appearing real. I don't actually think that they'll even see them. It's another subject, but whatever vibration you're at, what's actually happening is you will experience the reality from that vibration. Now, I wasn't going to say this, but it's been prompted by Rosie's comment and Benjamin's comment. But I believe that, let's say there was 100 people in the room. That room would be viewed 100 different ways by those 100 different people, based on where they are in their mind, in their heart, the frequency that their thoughts allow them access to, that you don't see with your eyes, you see through your eyes. You convert everything through your eyes in your brain, you process it, and then you project it out there. There's actually nothing here, out here. This thin air is just a screen, it's like that iPad there, it's not being turned on yet. There's nothing there. And yet when I power that iPad up, what actually happens is it's brought to life like a baby is brought to life, or any living organism is brought to life, and then it tunes in. Now we are docking stations, tuning in. But so we're tuning into human FM, if you like, and a giraffe is tuning into giraffe FM, and a tulip and a rose, not Rose Chaplin, but a rose flower is tuning into flower FM, and understands things from the perception of a flower, because they're talking to each other, and giraffes and they're communicating, and human beings and we're communicating. So they've made an agreement that monkey FM, monkeys eat bananas and swing in trees and do what chimpanzees do. They don't ride bikes and cars. We do, because that's what we know, and we're taught that in human FM. Now within human FM, chimpanzee FM and other forms of vibration at different levels of evolution, we can ascend. I believe that around us right now are angels in angel FM. So they are higher ascended future humans, if you like, that we're not at, but it's not going to happen in the future. It's happening here now, all now. It's all here. Have you ever wondered, good question, that's just come to mind, why we're told that there was an ape and then there was a man and there's a missing link? We've got fossils of apes and we've got fossils of men. Where's the fossils of the missing link? There is no missing link. There's nothing missing. Everything is perfect. Everything is here now. The ape's still here. It might have evolved, and but everything is still here. It's all now. UFOs are here now. It's just that we haven't seen them because we don't know what we're looking for. One day everybody will see a UFO and they'll go, oh, there you go, that's it, and then everybody will see UFOs. It's all here now. And your spirit guides and angels are all here now, and in many states that you can learn to control and create, but happen quite accidentally at times. Atmospherics like thunderstorms and going into ancient buildings where the walls are full of crystals that amplify vibration, and auric fields. That's why a lot of haunted, so-called haunted houses are ancient buildings, because the rock structure had crystals in them, where modern properties are all MDF and dust and breeze blocks. all dead materials. But the old buildings had crystals in, and quartz and lime and calcium and proper rock with minerals in that could retain energy. And we know that when you go on certain mind-altering drugs, LSD, ayahuasca, MDT, there's quite a few drugs that give you altered states. Now, they're opening your mind pathways to see things that are there all the time. Alcohol does, but alcohol brings out the worst in you quite often. It suppresses you. It depresses you as well quite often. But you can lucid dream, astral travel, do transcendental meditation, create stillness to still point, lucid dreaming, lucid living, all sorts of techniques that I preach, teach and practice that allow you to make this dimensional shift, to have extra awareness, ESP, of other dimensions. And when you understand that you're part of that, and in fact you're in control of that, which is what I'm going to come back to now, because we've gone off on a massive tangent, but I'm happy, then that gives you ultimate control. Because you're not just controlling yourself, little me, you're controlling big me, penultimate me, and you're controlling your vibration, your emanation, your radiation, and you'll attract to you magnetically all the magic that you are, and realise that you're not this body, and you're not, as I said before, all these labels that you call this body, and you're definitely not the labels that other people put you down with. Don't accept any labels. From today, make the decision that you're not going to carry any past labels forward. Anything that anybody said about you, that's not you. You decide for yourself who you are, and you're amazing, and you can have ultimate control. Lots of people, me included, and still me included, even though I know this, because I get it wrong massively, but I have awareness of getting it wrong, and I self-correct now. And as I say, the old Mike Garner 20 years ago used to do anger, frustration. I used to get pissed off and do it really well. Now I can still do it, but I've got coping strategies and skills and abilities, techniques that clear it. They clear my nervous system, they wipe my emotions clean, they give me balance, mental clarity. And a lot of it, I'll be honest with you, comes through sleep, but sleep isn't being dormant. Sleep is being awake in another vibration, in a lucid dream where I get my wisdom. And I'll talk about that on another Going Live, how you do that and how that works for me, because it is powerful. Hi Aran. So who are we if we're not these things? When you look in the mirror, that's not you. Although if you to look off your reflection, if you look round me now, I know that you will see here and here a halo, a glow. And trust me, I'm not Jesus, Buddha, Allah, I'm not any Muhammad, I'm not a sacred person at all. But we all have this vibration, and I'm buzzing at the moment. I'm loving this. In this moment, anything that I've got wrong with my body doesn't exist, because I'm talking energy. When I'm doing tarot readings, when I'm doing psychic connection, empathic readings, when I'm doing my presentations, my mentalism, I'm absolutely buzzing. And I can access dormant forces that don't generally wake up with me in the morning until I connect to them by connecting to the universe with techniques that I teach in Reiki and healing and thought transmitting and all sorts of other esoteric metaphysical techniques that I find amazing. It concerns me that people are missing out on this ultimate control and this ability to see the bigger picture, to not be a chicken, to be an eagle, a high flyer. And it's completely corporate as well, because you can do it in business and run an ethical business, a powerful life, and attract far more success and abundance and pleasure and health if you can just become your God self, your Buddha self, your Christ consciousness, resurrected, which is who you were born to be. That gives you ultimate control. And your ego, as I said before, the etymology of that is EGO, edge God out. And if you try and do it on your own and edge God out, edge your higher self out, don't use your head, your penultimate self, and get ultimate control, you'll get it wrong. You'll have the chaos, the disorder, and the dis-ease. And life becomes shit. And shit things happen. Rather than shifting. I love the word shit. I've said it before. I hope I'm not offending you. But if you put an F in shit, you can shift. And you can shift in every moment. You can shift watching this, after this. Don't carry past labels forward. Label yourself with ultimate control. Number 1, love your name. Know who you are. Know what you stand for. Know what you want in life. And then control yourself. Let me explain how it works. I don't know who's going to join me later, but you guys that are with me now, thank you for coming. This is my iPad Pro. When you buy it, it's got an operating system. And then you load stuff on. You download your photographs, your emails, your music, your Facebook, your apps. You personalise it, don't you? You put all this stuff on. You put all this stuff on. This is you. Basically, when you're born, you are a new iPad or a new Samsung, whatever you've got. I don't want to sell Apple products, but when you buy a new device, a programmable device, it's like a baby. It's like a newborn. It hasn't been programmed, and trust me, we are programmed. Benjamin's saying, I believe we are pure energy form, way more magical than we understand in this physical life. Amen to that. Completely agree with you, Ben. The minute we realise that we're not this illusion, that we're the person creating this, projecting it, in fact, that's where the power is, the ultimate control is, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. I understand, Rose, that you're having trouble with your power. I was talking about having trouble with my Wi-Fi not 2 minutes before I came on. You can watch it later. It'll be uploaded and it'll be on my YouTube channel as well. But stick with me, and if you go and you come back, you're welcome. You are born a docking station. And you are a transmitter and a receiver. But as a baby, you're receiving indoctrination, programming, propaganda, if you like. Hopefully it's by people who love you, people who've got your best interests at heart, but not always. Not always. Hi, Paul. Not always have these people got your best interest at heart. Even your parents and your grandparents, they have their agendas. I'm not saying they're evil. I'm not saying they are sinister. But people have rigid mindsets, and they teach you from their beliefs, and they'll try and control you from their beliefs, even out of love. And we're affected by them. I'm working with clients now who their problems go right back to infancy, as toddlers, as young youths, as young men and women, things that people have said that they've believed, that they're living with for the rest of their lives. And quite a lot of those things have been said by people who love them. In fact, there's more of that these days, because when I was a child, I used to get a short, sharp smack. You can't do that now, so kids are controlled with words. In the classroom, and I've worked with kids in classrooms and watched educators, and they use emotional manipulation and mental manipulation, because they can't use physical manipulation anymore, because they'll end up getting reported to Childline. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in beating kids up, but a smack round the back of the legs didn't do me any harm, and you don't even have to make contact. You can just clap your hands and change the state of your child, your dog, your animal, or whatever it is that you're trying to bring into line. But these days, bringing people into line is frowned upon, and kids get away with all sorts of things, to their detriment, in my opinion. You might have an opinion about that, put it in the comments box below. But ultimately, you were controlled, manipulated, taught, programmed through nature and nurture. Nature being your natural environment where you were brought up. If you were brought up in Wales, in England, in Scotland, in Italy, in France, in Thailand, in Germany, wherever it is, you will have had a cultural society effect on your upbringing. The vibration in that place, space, and those faces will have affected your personality. That's not who you are, your personality. I'll come to that in a minute. And then you were told stuff, and things happened, experiences, good and bad. You queued up to hand your homework in, and the teacher took it and said, good boy, good girl. Or she said, go away, I'm too busy. And then you went to talk to your mum or dad or whoever brought you up, and you were told, good boy, good girl. And you were happy with that. Or you were told to go away, mum, dad, whoever it is too busy. Or you haven't met their expectations, or you need to do this to earn my love. And stuff happens. We won't go into that, but there is conditioning, which is part of your upbringing, to control you, to bring you into line with that family, that culture, that society, that part of the world, that life. Some of that is positive, some of it's not so positive. And you'll live with that for the rest of your life. And that, and the things that you do to yourself, for yourself, and with the friends that you choose, not those influential role models, but the other people that you choose, your siblings, your peer group, your mates, your workmates, the people that you go to school with, the people that you trust your stories to, they have an effect on you as well. And this moulds us, this creates our personality. Now, you aren't your personality. Your personality is your ego, it's your lower self. It's not you. You are the person. The person is the human being on Human FM that's the same as everybody else before you were programmed. And you've still got that pure, uncontaminated person inside you connected to the pure, uncontaminated spirits that I've talked about before, the angels and the ascended masters and all the people in the invisible dimensions, in the oneness that are still there as part of your team and in other people's teams that you can connect to. So what do you do if your personality isn't working for you? And how would you know that your personality isn't working for you or is working for you? Well, look at your life. How happy are you? When was the last time you had a bloody good laugh? How successful are you? I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, are you loved? Are you liked? What's your legacy? Are you on a mission? Are you loving your life? Do people love you? How many friends have you got? Do you sleep well? What's the quality of your health? That's success. Most people judge success on money, status, things, celebrity, stuff, power. Better values would be health, peace of mind, energy, loving relationships, loving yourself, loving your life, loving your job, loving your time alone, loving your time with other people loving you, respect, two-way stream, financial freedom so you don't have to worry about money. So how is your life, and why is your life like that? It's because of the decisions that you've made in the past. So coming back to this, you as an iPad, you as a docking station have got lots of these apps and lots of these things, lots of these files, and behind every one of these files is your life experiences, your memories of those life experiences. And psychologically we call these memes, memories, electrical files that are memories of everything that you've ever said, done, smelt, heard, tasted, touched, experienced, dreamt of, everything. Some people call that the Akashic file. It's not. The Akashic file is everything, but you have your own file in your mind as memes. And then you have your higher self that's pure and uncontaminated. Then you have your lower self, your personality, that's this stuff. Now my job as a programmer is to add stuff to this and to delete it. So if you wanted to be confident, but you've never felt confident, you could install a confident meme. Hiya John, good to see you. And you could change your personality quite often. I'm not just adding things to people, I'm actually taking it away. So if you've had an experience that is like guys with PTSD, or you've had trauma, or you've had upset, bereavement, loss, tragedy, you can remove that appropriately at the right appropriate time. You can lessen the power of that, turn it down. You can turn the power up of confidence, turn the power up of love, turn the power up of mental agility, emotional balance. You turn the power down on fear. You can play with your personality. But ultimately, it's your personality. It's not who you are. But a lot of people think they are their personality. But they're not. You're the person. You see, I said in the last presentation, MikeGnosis 1, that you have a body and you have a mind. But you are neither. You're the person that has the body and the mind. You're the person that can change your mind. If you can change your mind, then you're the person that can change your mind, not your mind. And yet some people say to me, well, I've always been like that. I've always been short-tempered. I've never been confident. I've always been rubbish at public speaking. I've never been good at fixing things. I've always been argumentative. It's not true. It might be true for them, but they're not fixed or stuck in that. That's their personality. That's just a habit, but they can change that. Let me tell you the secret to change. Let me tell you as well the secret to change, and I'm looking at a different camera here for a different forum, but I'm mainly with you guys. The secret to change is first of all realising that you can change. That you, as God, G-O-D, the grand organising designer of your life, have designed everything up to date. You're responsible, so if it's gone well, well done. If it hasn't, you can change it. It might be that you're having a bad day. It might be that you're having a bad year, you can change it. It might be that you've had a bad 20 years, a bad 50 years, you can change it. You can change it now by realising that you can change it. Because you can change everything, and over the next few talks I'll be talking about other aspects of how you can change metaphysically and physically reality. But for tonight, you are known by your traits and behaviours. People will know how you walk, how you talk, what you look like, what you wear, what you do, what you don't do, how you are, how you're not. But you know how you want to be. And so, until I speak again, which will be next week, be different. We are human beings. We're not human doings. We're not human workings. We think we have to work, but actually you don't. I had a spine injury back in 2007. I'd done 32 years as an AA patrolman, and John Spur is with me. Hiya John, watching. And I started with the AA with John in 1976-77. And it was going well. I loved it. And then I had a spine injury and it stopped overnight. And all my plans changed overnight. I put on 3 stone in 3 months. Didn't walk, never thought I'd walk again. Most of you know that story if you followed me. Who was I then? If I thought I was an AA man, who was I then? Because I certainly wasn't an AA man after that. I've never worked for the AA. I've never fixed a car. I've never picked a spanner up. I reinvented myself because I knew I could, because I decided to change once I'd got sorted well. And I've never walked properly since. I live with pain, but a lot of people who live with pain make a decision and think life stops. I didn't make that decision. I made a different decision. So today, to change, to get ultimate control, you can make some new decisions. Decision, the etymology, the Latin is decision, incision. It's to cut away from the personality that you had to become the personality that you choose to be, to design it. Because you are the grand organising designer. You are God in your life. To get ultimate control, become God. Forget that you're Mike Garner, John Spur, Rose Chaplin, Fionn. Just forget those names. You're God. I'm not being blasphemous here. Take control, be God. You know, if you put another O in God, it becomes good. Be good. If you take the D off devil, it becomes evil. That's the etymology. Don't be evil, be good. Don't be in fear, hatred, anger, sadness, in low vibration. Be good, be God, in high vibration. And don't live by ego, ego, edge God out. Edge God in, which is you. Find other gods, other high vibrational eagles, not chickens scratching around for scraps and crap. And in the oneness, get a team round you to take ultimate control as an individual and as part of a team, because you can. So how do you change? Well, first of all, know what you don't want and know what you do want. And in the moment, make decisions based on what you want more of and do more of that, and make decisions that move you towards it. And then stop doing the things that take you away from the things that you want. And trust me, wherever you are, at whatever age you are, you know the right things to do and the wrong things to do. You don't need me to moralise. You don't need a Bible to tell you, or the Quran, or the Apocrypha, or any other holy book, although you can look at them for wisdom, if you believe there's wisdom there. But you know everything that there is. You are perfect. Your personality has forgot that you are God. But trust me, all these invisible people behind you, part of your invisible team, haven't. And if you go to bed tonight, and I'm pointing at my bed over there, but you don't know, but that's my bed over there. If you go to bed tonight and ask for guidance, you'll dream and get the guidance that you want. Quite often, I was talking in the last presentation, that as an AA man, I used to drive around in my AA van, because I loved the job. I was on my own. I was God on the road, fixing cars. I used to fix people in mechanical breakdown situations. Now I help people in mental and emotional breakdown situations. Same job. And you need a toolbox. And this is a tool that I'm giving you to start a journey with a question, because driving puts you into hypnosis. It puts you into a trance. So ask the question that you want to know the answer to. And by the time you get to the end of the journey, as long as it's not 2 minutes down the road, but if it's a good sort of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you'll get the answer. And I have a pen and paper at the side of me all the time for writing down, or to write it down on an electronic device, what the answer is. So should I do this, yes or no? And I drive and I get the yes or no. And quite often I'll get what's called a superconscious piece of wisdom, which gives me ultimate control, because it'll give me the bigger picture. An answer better than any answer that Mike Garner could have come up with. Because the wisdom's in the universe, it's not in here. But connected to the universe, it comes through here. Because as I said right at the very beginning, I'm a docking station. Available to have wisdom dropped into me. And as long as I don't judge it and block it and mess it up because I'm Mike Garner messing it up with my own ideas, if I just follow it through, this divine inspired gift, if I do it, then that's when things start to go right in my life. When I ignore it and I try to make things happen, when I force things, by taking control, I mess it up. I've come to this talk with no notes whatsoever. If I had notes, I'd be saying what I wanted to say. You don't want to hear what I want to say, because I am you. You want to hear what the universe is saying through me, and I want to hear what the universe is saying through you. Not what you've always said, but what's new, what's fresh, what's inspired. You don't want information which is stuff in form. You want inspiration which is stuff from spirit. And that's how you get ultimate control, by just listening in that silence, in that gap between your thoughts, to the wisdom that people who've been here before, people who've never been here, who are on a higher vibration, not Human FM or Giraffe FM or Monkey FM like I talked about before. They're on Spirit FM, which, trust me, is where it's at. That's really cool there. That's where we've all been, and that's where we're all going to. But when we came here, we forgot about that. It's rather like, here's a metaphor for you that you might like. It's rather like being in a mothership and being beamed down to the moon. and you've got your spacesuit on, which is your body in this physical life, and you're connected through this link to breathe and to hear commands, because from up there they can say, oh, go forward 20 yards, go right, go left, there's something coming, you're clear. They can see what's going on, and you're just floundering around with your spacesuit on. Well, that's us on Earth in this life. Now imagine now that you disconnected that connection to the mothership. You'd be lost, wouldn't you? You wouldn't have any guidance, you wouldn't know what's over the mountain, you wouldn't know if any Martians were coming to attack you, you wouldn't know the weather conditions because you could only see what you can see, you wouldn't be able to see behind you because you've got your helmet on, you'd be lost, you'd be out your comfort zone. That's where you are until you become awakened, take ultimate control and realise that you're not your personality, you are the person connected always, even though we've forgot, to the mothership and to everybody else who's controlling us. And when we disconnect from that team, we are lost. Now, call that team God or whatever words you want to use. I don't want to get religious here, you don't have to. But we have a limited amount of names for this ultimate power, this supreme power, this divinity. Metaphysically, they call it the morphogenetic field. Orgon energy. But whatever it is, if we don't connect to it, we're lost, we're on our own. And there's so much power and magic by having that connection, which we'll talk about in other sessions. But once you've decided who you want to be, then you have to do something different. And the way to know what to do with every decision, this cutting away, this incision, this decision, is to know what you want to have, be and do, to know what goals you want, what sort of person you want to be. And if you don't, choose somebody that you respect and be like them. But what you're going to do in this transition is you're going to forget that you want these things, and you're going to go back to your old ways because you've had 20 years or 30 years or 50 years or 60 years in my case of being who you were. And as I said to you, if you're listening, the wisdom is in the gap between your thoughts. So I'm going to leave you with this, although leaving it with you, I'll probably still be talking for 20 minutes and then I'll take questions. But the wisdom of tonight's talk, of this presentation, and thank you for joining me live, is to tell you to shut up and to listen. You shut up and you shut up. And I'll point at me, I've got to shut up as well. Because as I point one finger forward, there's three pointing back. I've got to learn to shut up. You've got to stop reacting. Because a reaction is repeating. It's got the word re in it. It's repeating, it's rewinding, it's reminding yourself who you were. Little me, I have no power. And when you want to claim your power and connect to the majesty of all power, become everything that you're capable of being, your birthright, magnificent, not defined by your personality, but actually living your life on purpose with passion as the proper person, the G.O.D., the grand organising designer of your life, so that you become the script writer, the producer, the director and the star in a wonderful life, which is everything that you should be. You've just got to stop saying what you've always said. You've got to stop doing what you've always done, and you've got to stop being who you've always been. You're a human being. Stop doing the other stuff. Stop saying all this stuff. Just stop. And that's the clue. Before you do something, stop. Create a gap. Stop reacting. Stop repeating what you've always done, and start acting in the way that moves you towards what you want. So, if you know somebody who is, let's say me and John, we play the guitar. I know, hopefully he's still watching. So if we want to be better guitarists, we've got to do what good guitarists do. We've got to copy their model. If I wanted to be a good chef, I'd have to watch good chefs and do what they do to bake a cake, make a meal. Who do you know that's got self-control? Who do you know that's financially secure? Who do you know that's got super relationships? Be like them. But there's people in your invisible team who know how to do these things. And as I say, if you ask them, they'll guide you and they'll check you. And it's going to be difficult to change to start with, so you're going to have to catch yourself when it goes wrong. But I know as a psychologist that it takes 21 days to change your behaviour. So whatever is your worst trait, your worst behaviour, your worst negative habit, pick on that and stop it in the next 3 weeks by checking yourself and realising how you want to respond, how you want to act, instead of reacting. And I want you to stop reacting. I want you to stop being reactionary by saying nothing. Because nobody can really annoy you. Nobody can anger you. Nobody can frustrate you. And equally, nobody can make you happy. It's all a choice. It's a decision. So what you do is, for the next 21 days, throughout February, don't complain. Don't moan. And if you hear yourself, just stop mid-sentence. Just check yourself and don't do it. Don't get angry. If you get angry, get frustrated, and you start kicking off and spitting your dummy out, just let that be a red flag moment. It comes up on your head like a red flag, and just stop it. Get control of yourself by making the decision that you're not going to lose control. I said in the last presentation, put yourself on a PMA diet, positive mental attitude. Whenever you have a negative thought or you say something negative about yourself or to somebody else, just stop. Just don't react. Just doing this one thing, creating a gap between something coming into you and what comes from you as a response. And just act in a more mature, peaceful, loving, kind, constructive way. Do that one thing for 21 days and you'll get control over repeating what you've always done. Now, if you are a passive person, maybe it's that you've got to be more proactive. So instead of being passive, stop doing that and step up and be more proactive. Saying yes to something opens doors. Saying no closes doors. No is negative, yes is positive. But you know what's right to say yes and no to, so you'll be the judge of that. But if you just simply stop moaning and complaining and explaining and justifying, that one thing alone will change. Denise, I find it really hard. I'm going to try my best to follow this. Well done you. Well, I started a long time ago, and trust me, I get it wrong. I've gone from different levels. But what I'm going to say is what I said about half an hour ago for those people that just joined me. The minute you change and you go to a different level, the world changes. Because as I said, there's 100 people in a room, but there's millions of people in the world, and there's hundreds of people in your life, tens of people in your family, people in your workplace, in your neighbourhood. And the minute you change, trust me, they'll feel different, seem different, look different, taste different. Your whole physical life of touch, taste, sight, sound and smell is different when you go up one frequency from 98.2 to 98.3 on the wave band. And you'll see the world in a different vibration. Heaven and hell is all here now. Everything's all here now. And depending... Yeah, I find having affirmation notes all over help remind me. Good point, I'm glad you said that. It's something I teach, but it's something I need to say. That if you decide who you want to be, you affirm it. And an affirmation is like a statement of intent. It's like a statement of allegiance. In America, they put the hand on the heart, don't they? And put the hand up and say, I declare this. It's like a creed. Make a creed. Define yourself. Defining yourself is like a definition. It's being definite who you want to be and not accepting anything less than that. You shouldn't have any second-rate relationships, a second-rate job, second-rate health, second-rate... Whatever you choose, you deserve it. Write it down and put it on stick-it notes on your mirror where you have a shave or you put your lipstick on or you do your hair. Well, I don't do my hair, but, you know, have these things all around. I teach in my Mind, Body, Spirit group crystal programming, self-programming, self-control techniques, and affirmation is really, really powerful. It's a statement that defines you, and it starts with I am this, I am that. Not I'm going to be this, I'm going to be. I am it now. And the minute you say that you are something, you assume the vibration of that statement, because you are God. And you're making a commandment, a self-commandment, one of your commandments. Make some commandments, some definitions, create your own creed, write them down as affirmations. And if you want help with affirmations, then inbox me what you want to define and say these things for 21 days. This 3-week process of programming is really powerful. 21 days of positive mental attitude, no derogatory, no put downs of yourself or others. And if you adopted that under the roof of your house, your castle, your palace, your cave, if you made your home a place where nobody devalues anybody else, your home will be a beautiful place to live. And if all your conversations, and I wish that I could say that all my conversations are like that, and I'm being honest to say that they're not always. I do go into judgment. I do say things that I shouldn't and I regret. But I have techniques now where I can wipe the slate clean and carry on. I don't carry those past labels forward, and I don't take yesterday's shit into today. I shift. Shit to shift. And if you want to know more about that, talk to me later and I can put you into some programs. But ultimately, yes, affirmations. Make these statements and become the person that you want to be by changing your beliefs. Because what you believe you are is just something that you've said for days, weeks, months and often years. But they're not true, they're just beliefs. And you can change your beliefs and you can change yourself by knowing that you can, getting the help of your invisible team in the oneness, and then being different by just shutting up. Beautiful affirmation is, I always pause for consideration before I speak. Or I always pause for consideration before I act. Now, I wish that was true for me. I'm better than I used to be. And on a good day, I do. But I get it wrong, and quite often I'll jump in because I'm enthusiastic. And a considered response from wisdom, from spirit and not from self, is far more powerful. I'm easygoing, but then can go up like a bottle of pop. I always put myself last. Yeah, well, me too, Denise. I'm a Taurus, bull in a china shop. As I say, I'm not anything like I was 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm a work in progress, and I get it wrong, and we all do. But I'm a lot better than I used to be, and I'm a lot more connected. And having awareness, it's being the witness of my body and being the witness of my mind. The way it works is like this. Imagine that, I've said this before, but I'll say it again and put it on cam. Imagine that, this is my mobile phone, but imagine it's a Nintendo or a PlayStation controller playing a game. I don't play games myself, but many people do. And you've got a character on the screen, you're playing it. So you've got an emoji on the screen, a character, and he's going through a platform game or an adventure game or whatever game it is. A lot of people, including me in the past, used to believe that I was the player in the game. And if you're honest with yourself, quite often most of you will think that you're players in the game. That what's going on for you in the game, in life, at work, at home, with your families, with all your mini dramas and your mega dramas, that's you, and that's all there is. Everything that you can touch, taste, sight, sound and see, that's your reality. That's what it is. That's all there is. Then you die. Life's a bitch. Pay your taxes, then you die, as they say. That's not true. First of all, you're eternal, so this is just an experience. As I said, whatever age you are, that's just the age you are in this life, and actually you are thousands of years old in the evolution of mankind, and you were there at the beginning and you'll be there at the end. We are all stardust. We know that the cells that make up our bodies are mainly carbon, and you can carbon date them to millennia. We are diamonds. We are crystalline in structure. We are walking miracles. We're amazing. This is who we are. When we realise that's who we are, then this shit that we think is life, we can shift from that and just laugh at it all. We really can. But when something happens to you, what you've actually got to do is you've not got to get involved in it. You've not got to attach to it. You've got to realise that you're not the emoji going through it, that you're actually the controller controlling it. You've got to, at the moment now, if I think that I'm here in Thailand in this room talking to you, I am, but actually I'm still in the mothership with the people who are controlling me, looking down as an eagle at this chicken, a bald-headed chicken, playing this game of being Mike Garner, Mr Mike Garner, Michael Garner. Now if I get offended, I'm being stupid, because that's just the character in the game that's being put down or offended or getting annoyed. I'm actually a controller and it's nothing to do with me. I can delete the game, I can adjust the game, I can turn left, I can turn right, I don't even have to be in that scene, I can shift it completely. I've got that control. The God in me, the Christ consciousness, the higher self, has got the ability to see the bigger picture and to save my lower self. But I've got to create a relationship with higher self and lower self. I've got to recognise my God self, my higher self. If you don't like these words of God and that, you can just say conscious mind and subconscious mind and superconscious. The conscious mind's in the body. The subconscious mind is in the God self, and the superconscious mind is the oneness of everything. So we can come at this clinically. They're just words. Don't get offended by words, and don't switch this off thinking, well, I don't believe in God and I don't believe in this. These are just words. That would be negative judgment, and that would limit your progress and stop you from, and block yourself from being magnificent, which is what you were born to be. So at any given time when things become a bit shit, or when somebody offends you, or you do something wrong yourself, just realise that that's just part of the story, and step back and get to this place of controller. Because you're not the character on the screen. And when you get to controller, what you do is nothing. You just breathe and relax. The emoji knows what to do. Left alone, it would do it quite well. Only when we interfere do we get it wrong. I can play the keyboard, the piano, I can drive a car, I can play guitar, I can talk, I can walk, I can do all these things that I can do. But if I start to think about it, then I get tongue-tied, I become self-conscious, I get nervous, I can't talk, I can't play guitar. If I think about what my fingers are doing while I'm thinking about it, it goes wrong, doesn't it? The best zone to be in when you're doing something automatic is away with the fairies, and your body will do it automatically for you. I rose your back. We block ourselves. This body, which isn't us, blocks us from being magnificent. The things that we do in this body, to the best of our ability, we do those things when we're not thinking about it. When we forget who we are. When we get lost in the activity. People go through all sorts of pain on marathons to get into the zone. They go through the pain barrier and then they're in heaven, seventh heaven. Endorphins are released. Same as golfers, swimmers, adrenaline junkies. Love the adrenaline rush. It's one of those other self-induced hypnotic states, like driving, like playing the guitar, like doing anything that you love, that releases peptides and endorphins from the brain, which create heavenly states. Hi Nicola. It creates a release of what's called Christos oil, Christ oil, from a part of the brain, part of Kundalini rising and Tantra. That's another story which we'll talk about. But when you lose yourself in an activity, that's when you perform at your best. That's because you've got yourself out of the way, and that's what we've got to do in everyday life. We've got to get ourselves out of the way and stop blocking ourselves. We've got to be connected, if you like, to the mothership all the time, and live from higher self, God self. That's where the ultimate control comes through. And the way to do that is not to react, because when we react in the old way, the old Mike Garner and the old you, with ego will block your God self, your perfect self. Your personality blocks your God self, the real person, the pure potential that you were born as, that's still with you, but all your files contaminate you. It's like coming back to this that I said before. Basically, I've got a laptop that got a virus. One of the files got corrupted. When one of the files got corrupted, nothing worked. What's corrupting your files? It could be one relationship that's corrupting you. Nothing works. It could be one job or one person in that job. Nothing works. Something on your mind is a file, and nothing works. And what you're going to do is you're going to overthink it. You're going to dwell on it until it becomes something that almost like destroys your personality, which I've let happen in the past, and I'm still capable of doing it. And what you've actually got to do is do nothing. Do no thing. Relax. Connect to the universe with techniques I'll show you next time we talk on MikeGnosis 3. Be quiet, say nothing, do nothing, don't react, act from God's self in a heavenly way, create ecstatic states, smile at it, realise it's not you, it's just a character on the screen, you're the control, you're God, and go into the zone. Now some people have to run marathons, as I say, and do adrenaline junkies, and some people think that they have to do all sorts of complicated meditations, become a Zen master after 30 years of training. No, you can access these states instantly. I'll share that wisdom with you next time. But you've got to live from love, not fear, because God is love. Fear is false. False expectations appearing real, or fantasized expectations appearing real. FEAR. Anything that's frightening you isn't real. And you could say, well, what happens if someone jumps at you with a gun, or a tiger escapes from the zoo and eats you? Well, it doesn't kill you. It kills the character on the screen. You're eternal. And although you might be loving your life and you don't want to leave it, I'm not going to say do something stupid and walk into the motorway and get knocked down to get to heaven quicker. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, this is just a story. And when you see things as a story and other people in your life as actors on the stage of life, then you can take a different perspective. And if you're kind to them and don't react and act in a way that moves you towards your goals, as I've already discussed, so if you missed that bit, go back and play it again, then you become on purpose, and life becomes purposeful and meaningful and lovely and fun, and you lose disorder and you get order, and you lose dis-ease and you get ease and health and fun. And that's what we're here to enjoy. That's heaven on earth. So Eden, paradise, is here. It's just possibly it's a vibration that you're not experiencing it, because you've got a file in your mind that's messing everything up. What is that file? If you don't know, go to bed tonight and ask to have it revealed to you in a dream. I would imagine that you won't even have to go to bed to find out what it is. You'll know what it is. Just don't search your mind, just relax and it will come to mind. The first thing in your mind that comes, when I've got people in hypnosis, I say to them, instantly without thinking, why are you unhappy? Instantly without thinking, what do you want? Instantly without thinking, what's frightening you? Instantly without thinking, when was the first time that you behaved like this? And in the relaxed hypnotic state, which I induce, but you can do for yourself, they'll come up with the answer like that. And it's right. And once it's out in the open and not hidden or blocked, because we're far too clever and we try to justify and make excuses, but when there's honesty, that it's my fault, we're not blaming somebody else, it's my fault, I'm angry, I'm ignorant, I'm argumentative, I'm narrow-minded, whatever it is that's caused it through nature or nurture, as I said before. Or it might be that you're too weak, or you're too kind, or you're too open, or you're too giving. It could be that you've got positive personality and virtues that work against you. Hi Debbie! Whatever it is that's in your personality that's causing the problem, you can shift it, because you can change. You can change with guidance from above, as I've said before. And if you missed that bit, you can go back and watch it again, and I'll talk about it in the future. Or you can make affirmations, which I've already said, and there's many other techniques. I'm not here to teach techniques, I'm here to open awareness, but I will share techniques. But ultimately, stop reacting. You see, I'll give you another example. What is it about Marmite that people like or don't like? Or Mr Bean? You see, we could all be watching Mr Bean eating Marmite sandwiches, and some people would love Mr Bean and hate the Marmite sandwiches, or the other way around. It's nothing to do with the Marmite sandwiches and Mr Bean. It's to do with decisions that we've made. We either like Mr Bean or we don't. We either think he's stupid or we think he's a genius. It's nothing to do with Mr Bean. It's to do with the decisions we've made. And it's the same with Marmite sandwiches. You either like them or you don't. Now the fact is... Hi Deborah. Now the fact is, you can change your mind. Quite a lot of the things that rule your life now are based on decisions that you've made in the past. But you can make some new decisions and update your files. It's rather like updating your hard drive on... You can change your files. I mean, one time I was running Windows 98 and then Excel and then all sorts of other programs. I mean, you know, we've gone way beyond that. But a lot of people in their mind, in their lives, they're still running Windows 98. They're never updated to new stuff, never took on any new ideas, never been open-minded enough to reevaluate things, give themselves a chance to look at things with the wisdom that they've now got, the circumstances that they've now got. Most of us, they say, are emotionally around about 15 years of age. There's nothing wrong with that. I like being childish. But the fact of the matter is that how does that work for you? How do your beliefs work for you? Because you can change them. You can change your mind. You can update your programming and experience a different reality. Because the minute that you do update your programming, your reality changes. And you do that, in my opinion, by stopping reacting. So when you're watching Mr Bean, instead of it annoying you, how about being indifferent to it? How about allowing it to be on? I'm just turning this off, it was buzzing. How about allowing it to be on, but stop reacting to it? How about when somebody's shouting at you? When somebody in the past upset you? When somebody in the past intimidated you? When somebody in the past used to disrespect you and you felt disrespected, devalued, undervalued, put down? I want you over the next 21 days to stop giving them that power. It's rather like having a remote control, that's for my aircon, and it's got buttons on it, and they know what buttons to press to piss you off. And there's a button there to annoy you, and there's a button there to frighten you, and there's a button there to cheer you up as well. A lot of compliments that are given to you are given to you to control you. They're almost patronising. Now, although I like to be complimented, I don't need it. You shouldn't need compliments, and you certainly don't need put-downs. You should be independent of the good and bad opinions of others, because you're God, not them. And if you hand over your remote control to them, they become your God, and they become your controller. How many of you, honestly, are being controlled at the moment by other people? By your kids, by your partners, by your bosses, by neighbours, by people who put you into fear, maybe by people who compliment you. And therefore you feel that you can't say no to them, that you're being manipulated. You're giving them your control. How many of you are complimented by the old, are controlled by the old you? Hi Janice. How many of you are controlled by the old you? By the way that you used to be? Because of the circumstances that you used to have, that either you've not grown out of, you've not matured, or you've not revisited and updated, or you didn't realise, through no fault of your own, and ultimately you're living your life in the past. But you're not who you want to be. You're not where you feel you should be. Well, you can change that as well. You can take your remote control off other people. And the best way to do that is it's almost like taking the power out of them having the remote control. You don't have to fight them for it. You basically take the batteries out, take the energy away by not reacting. It's like I've got a remote control and I can press the button all day long and it won't change from BBC to BBC Two because there's no batteries in it. Take the batteries out of other people's remote controls by not reacting. Just practice non-reaction. It might be that you're pretending and you're reacting inside. But trust me, within 2 or 3 weeks you'll get really good at this. Stand in front of a mirror and just look at it without reacting. I really believe in smiling at mirrors and saying things like I love you and I love myself and making positive affirmations. But for this exercise, you're actually going to practice non-reaction, because that's how you're going to be to people who put you down and people who manipulate you through compliments and people who are aggressive to you or disrespect you. When you and it doesn't necessarily have to be right in front of you. It could be just something possibly. Okay, Nicola, good. I'm glad you're going to try it. It could possibly be that they're not even projecting it towards you. It might be something that you see over there. But when you see it over there, you react over here. Why? Nothing to do with you. What's to do with you is being human, being at peace, being loving, being kind, being constructive and having a good day. And you're allowing other people and yourself to spoil that for yourself and take your peace away by judging something, reacting to something that you don't have to. So don't. Practice non-reaction. Detaching, not attaching. Attach to the good stuff. When somebody says something nice or something good is offered, fully go into that, dive into that, but jump out of things that are awful, that are unpleasant, that create fear, that create judgment, that create low energy. And you know what these things are. Thank you, Janice. Ultimately, it's your decision. Decision, the etymology, to cut away, to do something different. But we're all tempted, because of conditioning, to do what we've always done. But if we do what we've always done, we're going to get what we've always got. To get something different, we've got to do something different and think something different and be something different. And this is what I'm suggesting. Non-reaction and do something different. Step back and become that controller. Realise that the person that's being offended is just a character on the screen. You're the higher self and you can control yourself. And take the power out of the batteries of the remote controls of people who are trying to control you. Don't react. They'll go and pick on somebody else if you don't react. They're expecting you to react and they'll get energy from that. It's called a control drama. They'll feed off your positivity or negativity or your struggle to gain your balance. And in that moment you're vulnerable and they'll love that. Don't be vulnerable, be powerful. Don't be out of control, be in control. Don't go to chaos, fear. Go to balance and love. Embrace it. Every negative experience is an opportunity for growth. Every negative experience is an opportunity to practice this stepping back, taking control and not reacting. So bring it on, world. Bring on the shit. Allow me to practice shifting. The more shit, the more you can shift. Are you getting where I'm coming from? Do you understand that it's rather good to be challenged? So that these are opportunities to practice your spiritual growth. You don't have to go to temple, although that's nice, or church. You can practice in your everyday life. Here's the temple. These are temples. Practice in here. Decide today to make your statements, your creeds, your affirmations, to define who you're going to be. Don't be the old you. That's somebody else's programming. Program yourself. If you want help, you know where I am. But you can do it yourself. Stop reacting. Start acting. Know what you want to have, be and do. Know what you want more of. Know what you want less of. And make your decisions that move you towards the things that you want. Power yourself up. Come from love. And remove the batteries of everybody else by stopping reacting. Just don't react. That's an affirmation. I act. Don't react. Act in ways that move you towards the person that you want to be. And if you don't know what to do, choose a role model and do what they would do, because they've got it right, because they've achieved it. If you want to be successful, do what successful people do. Do successful people watch lots of television? Do they get up late? Do they spend the time in the pub, or do they network? And do they study? And do they work hard? That's what they do. If you want to be successful, that's what you've got to do. If you want to, I don't know if John Spur's still watching me, but if you want to play the guitar and learn how to sing, you've got to get a tutorial, buy a guitar and practice, and sing and sing and sing and sing and sing. It's not going to happen if you turn up to an open mic night unprepared, and your life isn't going to happen if you turn up unprepared. You've got to prepare, you've got to mentally rehearse, which is what this is all about, and I'll be talking about that in other sessions. I hope you've enjoyed this tonight. Now, I'm going to be quiet and take a drink. Has anybody got any questions? There's silence. Well, if you haven't got any questions here, you can put your questions on afterwards, because this will be uploaded both onto Facebook as a going live video. It'll be on YouTube on my Mr Mike Garner channel. If you've got any problems that you want to, or challenges that you want to discuss personally, that you don't want to bring into this live forum, then I'm available. Although I'm in Thailand at the moment, you know, I'm 7 hours ahead of you, but I'm up and about. I can talk, I can share, I can cam, and I've got programs that I can share with you. It's not about that. It's about getting this knowledge out and making people realise how powerful you really are. And by not reacting, that's growth. And it starts there with taking the higher ground, coming from higher self, seeing the bigger picture, and realising that you are not little me. You are omnipotent, big me, part of me. You're all aspects of me, and I'm an aspect of you, and we're in this together. And we're connected because we are on that same vibration. People who haven't come on tonight aren't at that vibration. Talk to them and tell them, bring them up. Raise your own vibration as well. For whatever vibration, whatever frequency you're operating at, you'll see a different world. And heaven can be here now. It is here now. Are you seeing heaven, or are you seeing hell? Because that's up to you. And everybody that's been here and everybody that's going to be here is still here. Your past loved ones are still with you, around you, guiding you, opening doors, closing doors, and you can communicate with them and get assistance from them and with them through your dreams. If you're good at trance training, mindfulness, lucid dreaming, tantra, a whole range of techniques that allow you to access other dimensions that most people have got no awareness of, no knowledge of, unless it happens by accident, which it does, as I said right at the very beginning, under anaesthetic, in emergencies, by mind-altering drugs, alcohol, injections, all sorts of things, designer drugs and natural drugs. But trust me, there's nothing that you are the best pharmacist, you're an alchemist. You can create all these states without any extra things being added to you, injected into you, you don't have to take anything. Trust me, with hypnosis and self-hypnosis, you can access all your metaphysical self. All traditions, ancient teachers, Sufis, seers, gurus, yogis have said that there's just a veil, and if you open the veil and enlighten yourself, and through that awakening you'll see everything and understand everything and can be everything and can do everything. We are magnificent, and to get ultimate control of that magnificence, we've got to realise that we are far more than the labels that we give ourselves and the labels which are mostly put downs that other people give us. Don't believe them. Start to call yourself God, the Grand Organising Designer. And as I said a while ago, you can be the scriptwriter, the producer, the director, and the star in a wonderful life. Keep checking back to my Mr Mike Garner Facebook page. I'll be on live again next week, and I'll continue with this after this session if you want to talk to me, or at any time, because I'm always here for you. Thank you for honouring me with your presence. Spread the word. Be amazing in your own life. Stop reacting. Define what you want to have, be and do. Get to the place of control in your own life. You're just a character. That's not you. Your personality can change the minute you decide you want it to be something different. It can be something different. And take the power off everybody else. Take their batteries away, metaphorically, by not allowing them to push your buttons. Stop reacting. Something I'm working at every day. Get it wrong, get it right more than wrong, and that's all you can do. Do your best, grow, learn, shift, evolve, be amazing. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me. You honour me, I honour you. God bless.